Before we continue with the analysis, I want to talk to you guys about JerseyFIFA.com, the home of all of the greatest football kits. Whether that's the latest home shirts, the latest away shirts, tracksuits, or even retro kits, Jersey FIFA has a bit of everything. There really is something for everyone, so if you are interested, then make sure to use the link in the description down below and head to JerseyFIFA.com. Hey guys, welcome back to the AJ Analysis channel, where today we have another Scouting for Manchester United video, the ongoing series which is going all season long. We've got another one today. However, today, you guys may not actually know who we're talking about because we're doing this a little bit differently. So, my thinking basically is currently the Glazers are still in charge of the club and they're being greedy, selfish. So it's difficult for the club to be sold at the moment. So, I wonder if any takeover is going to happen too late basically. So, long story short, I've got a feeling Ten Hag might be working on a budget again this summer. What's the best way to work on a budget? Look for free transfers. Who is a player who genuinely solves a lot of the problems that United have, who is available for free this summer if he doesn't sign his contract? Dani Ceballos, Real Madrid and Spanish midfielder. We can see it here, his contract runs out in this summer. Like I said, there is a chance he extends. However, at the moment, it doesn't really look like the 26-year-old is in favour. Real Madrid have got Tchouaméni, they've got Toni Kroos, they've got Luka Modric, they've got Camavinga, they've got Valverde, Jude Bellingham coming in. Do they really need Ceballos? Probably not. So today, I want to tell you why United should sign Ceballos on a free transfer this summer. Now, to kind of give context for the whole video, I do not think he should come in and be United's starting midfielder. But I think as depth, he would be really, really good. I think if you've got the option of Ceballos on a free, or, you know, you keep Fred, or you keep McTominay, or you go spend 15 million on Sabitzer or whatever, Ceballos is a way better fit than all those players. Tactically, he is almost the perfect fit. So let's take a look at why. So first things first, where would Ceballos play for Manchester United? Well, it would be in that role alongside Casemiro, in a double pivot, or in a bit of a 4-3-3. Now, again, I know people are going to was that English? I know people are going to kind of had that idea in their head that, you know, Ceballos of Arsenal, who did flatter to deceive a little bit. I thought he was decent still, but he was never really great. He never really hit the heights. However, if you've watched him at Real Madrid, particularly this season, there is actually a real good player in there. A really, really good fundamental footballer who is technically unbelievably good. This guy deserves so much more game time than what he's getting at Real Madrid, and you know what he will get in the future. He really needs some recognition because he's a really good player. So what would he bring to this United team? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you one thing he would bring: press resistance. What are we talking about with press resistance? We're talking about he gets his ball in this area, he receives it from his defender into his feet, and he is immediately pressed by the player behind him. Now, what do United midfielders do in this situation? They panic, they lose the ball, they boot it out for a throw-in, or they pass to the opposition who run through and score. That's kind of how it tends to go. Not with Ceballos. Ceballos, the best way to describe him is he's a Spanish midfielder. He is very, very technically secure, very good on the ball, very good at receiving in these areas. Would I say he is elite in the first phase? No. But he is a massive upgrade on anything in the United squad apart from Lisandro Martinez and Luke Shaw. And it would actually make this left-hand side really good for United on the ball. In terms of playing out from the back, Ceballos is wonderful. His awareness of what is around him is very, very good. He's very confident and comfortable receiving the ball. And then he has that ability to knock it past an opponent, go past them, drop a shoulder. Really kind of dance his way past opponents in this area. So Ceballos is without a doubt capable of being a first phase midfielder, which would immensely improve Manchester United's ability to play through the press, play out from the back and get the ball moving forward. As well as excelling in the first phase, Ceballos is also a really good second phase player as well, which again is something United need. Whether that be dropping into the back three, for example, he could drop into this sort of area here and get the ball, very capable of doing that, and at times United need it because they need rotations, but more importantly, he's really good at playing in this area. He can either do it in a 2, for example, in a 3-2 shape like this, where he's on the left-hand side, getting a lot of the ball and kind of setting the tempo, he's very capable of that, or in more of a 3-1-6, where perhaps you've got both fullbacks pushed forward, the kind of the wingers coming inside into this sort of shape. Again, with Casemiro playing behind him, Ceballos is very, very comfortable in this position. So that tactical flexibility, again, is something certainly, again, English is a really difficult language. Again, this is something which United certainly need in their midfield, and Ceballos is really good at it. And, you know, going back to what I said earlier, he's very much a Spanish midfielder. look at these passing numbers. Passes completed, 99th percentile. Passes attempted, the 98th percentile. This is a high volume player. High volume, someone which demands the ball. Do United have that currently? Not really. The closest thing is Eriksen or Bruno Fernandes when he has played deeper, but it's not what they want to do. They can kind of do it a little bit, but it isn't their strength. Ceballos, this is his bread and butter. This is what he wants to do. He wants to get in midfield, get the ball, pass to a teammate, get the ball back, pass to another teammate, get the ball back, pass to another teammate. He is someone who really sets the tempo and dictates a game. United needs someone that can do that. Nearly all the top clubs in the world, which kind of want to play in this modern brand of football, need that midfielder who is capable of setting the tempo. Again, Ceballos is that. Whether it's short, medium or long range passing, we can see that his numbers are very, very good. And I think the long range passing in particular could be quite useful. I've spoke about it several times on the channel recently, in other scouting for United videos, but I think that ability to get the ball on the left-hand side and switch it out to Antony, and then have underlapping runs or overlapping runs from the right back, is a weapon which United need to use more. They can do that with Ceballos in the team. Now, as well as being this player who's going to spray passes left, right and centre, and also keep the passes short and, short and sweet, complete his passes, keep it ticking over, he's also really progressive as well, which is actually what makes his passing numbers even more impressive. Because if we look at this, we can see that his completion numbers are right up there, 99th percentile. But when you consider the fact that he's also really progressive with this, he takes risks on the ball, that's even more impressive. Ranking in the 99th percentile for progressive passes per 90 minutes. He really is very, very good at getting the ball moving forward between the lines. Passes in here. Passes which are going to open up an opposition midfield or opposition defence and find his teammates in little pockets of space. Those pockets which Bruno Fernandes loves to operate in, Rashford at times, Martial when he drops deep. Ceballos is brilliant at finding players in this area. But what excites me more is the progressive carries, the 97th percentile. United are crying out for a player which can do this, because Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes at times can do the passing, they can get the ball moving forward with their passing. United don't have a player in central areas which can do it via the dribble. Well, they would if they had Ceballos in the team. He is so good at this. He is, for me, this is the kind of the one area, combined with his press resistance, this is the area where he is elite. Genuinely one of the top midfielders in the world for his dribbling ability. It's absolutely phenomenal. Now, he isn't as short and got that low centre of gravity which other midfielders do, but he's still very, very good. And I love the way that he dribbles with the outside of his right foot. A lot of the time I'm talking about midfielders which use both feet to dribble, which very, very impressive, and I like it a lot. But what I like about someone which uses the outside of their right boot is the ability to kind of dribble this way, and then you kind of cut back on outside of your right foot and then come back inside. That is what Ceballos does really well in the middle of the pitch, and it kind of sells the opposition midfielder a bit of a dream, it wrong foots them, and allows Ceballos to carry the ball forward. And in general, if we look at some numbers, his ball carrying is so good. Take-ons attempted, the 96th percentile. Successful take-ons, the 98th percentile. Yes, he sometimes gets tackled, but what I like is that he just keeps doing it. The carries, 98th percentile. Total carrying distance, the 99th percentile. But importantly, these are progressive carries. 99th percentile for progressive carrying distance. He's really, really very good at progressing the ball, which again ticks the box of what United need. We've got a midfielder here who is really good in the first phase. He's got that element of press resistance. He's comfortable dropping in. Then in the second phase of play, he is high volume. He gets a lot of the ball, really sets the tempo for his side and is metronomic in the way that he plays, but also super, super progressive. He can get the ball moving forward, so it's not just safe, he's going to move the ball forward for your side as well. These are all things which United are crying out for in the midfield. On top of this, I also think he has improved kind of creatively from what he has in the past. At Arsenal, he struggled a bit to contribute in the final third. Again, not the case at Real Madrid at the moment. Now, people will make the argument that it's La Liga rather than the Premier League, and I understand that. Again, there would be that kind of adaptation period back to the Premier League, and it's not easy. But at 26 years old, he's coming into his prime, and the fact that he's still improving, he's improving with his ability in the final third. His shot-creating actions this season really rank very well. The fact that he's improving in these areas, whilst already being very technically secure, the fundamentals he's got on lock, basically, it's a really good sign. I also think another side of his game, which is underrated, and, just in general he's an underrated player, is the defensive side of his game. In terms of pressing high up the pitch, he's really very good at that. But what I like is just how hard he works. A lot of the time we get these technically secure midfielders who are really nice and neat on the ball, really tidy, they pass the ball nicely, really easy on the eye. But when it comes to doing the hard work, they don't really do it. That isn't the case for Ceballos. There's a reason that Real Madrid turned to him so much in the Champions League last season. It's because they wanted, one, what he does on the ball, but also his work rate out of possession as well. And he was really important and really went under the radar last season in Real Madrid's Champions League win. He played a big part. And it's backed up with the numbers. Defensive numbers are very, very good. Now, is he perfect? No. Is he a ball-winning midfielder? No. We can see that percentage of dribblers tackled. It's not great. Challenges lost. There are players which will beat him. But for tackles in the attacking third, he ranks very well. Tackles and tackles won, he ranks well. Dribblers tackled, dribblers challenged, blocks, passes blocked, interceptions, tackles and interceptions. He puts in a real good shift and he covers the ground a lot better than someone like Christian Eriksen at United. So maybe a bit like Fred, technically he isn't perfect from a defensive point of view. However, what we can see is that he works really hard. Really, really hard. And I do think this is an underrated side of his game. And again, I think a side of his game which we could see improve further. And that's why, I think you guys can probably see it quite clearly, these are the reasons why I think he would be such a good free signing. Now, in terms of wages, I don't actually know what his wage is. I don't know if it says it anywhere here, it doesn't. I don't know what his current wage is, but the fact that it's a free transfer really eliminates a lot of the risk. You know, if this was 20-30 million pound, it's a completely different story. But for a free transfer to be a profile who, you know, he looks better than Fred, he looks better than McTominay, he looks better than Sabitzer, he looks better than Eriksen, and even Bruno Fernandes in this particular position, and even Casemiro. So you're upgrading your midfield for a free transfer. Of course you've got to pay his wages, that comes into it. But to have no fee, I think it makes it a really attractive prospect, because he is so good at football. He's criminally underrated. I think in England we have this kind of snobbishness a little bit. We see that he didn't play very well in the Premier League 2 or 3 years ago now in a bit of a messy Arsenal side, to be fair. He didn't play too well. Everyone just assumes now for the rest of his career he's just rubbish, but it's not the case. He has been really important for Real Madrid, but I just don't see that being the case in the future, so maybe this is the time to go get him. Like I said at the start, he's probably not a first choice midfielder. If you want to be an elite team, he probably doesn't start for you. But as a squad option, a player which is going to start every cup game, all the games in Europe, and also a decent amount of Premier League games, he's going to come on a regular basis. It looks like a really good option to me. First phase, he does it. He can drop deep, he can be press resistant and help the team play through the press. The middle phase, or the second phase, really good on the ball, demands the ball, dictates the play, but he's also super safe on the ball in terms of security. He completes most of his passes, but also he's adventurous with his passing, he's progressive, he finds players in those little pockets of space, and he carries the ball forward himself really very, very well. Combine that with a decent level of creativity in the final third, plus brilliant work rate off the ball, for me you've got a very complete player, which Manchester United and Erik ten Hag should be watching this summer. They have to have their eyes on him. Looks like a really good option, so yeah. They're my thoughts on it. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. How good is Ceballos? Do you think he's a player which United should be kind of watching? Are you going to go watch and research a bit more? Maybe you haven't seen him enough since he left Arsenal. Let me know what you think. And also, let me know some other free transfers that you might want me to kind of check out before the end of the season. But apart from that, thank you guys for watching. I hope you have enjoyed the video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.